On the MPNFL Division 2 footy show for GameFace this week, Ty have notched up their first win of the season finally. The Red Hill percentage explodes with a 90-point belting in 5th place Rye. Chelsea comes from behind to defeat Hastings. Bulls hold off a poor starting Langwarrin in front of a massive crowd at BMK Park. And check it out, the panel is wearing the new Swiss Locker ugly sweaters. Welcome to the GameFace Footy Show Division 2. Yes, we're in the new ugly sweaters. It doesn't mean, even though they're a great football club, that we are behind the Glen Ira Griffins, and we are behind them, but I don't know whether we actually support them, but myself and also Hulks and Blackers are wearing these magnificent new jumpers from Swiss Locker. Now, if your club is interested in looking at designs in your club colours, inbox GameFace now so we can send out some samples, thanks to our great friends, a wonderful sponsor of the program at Swiss Locker. Welcome Hulks, welcome Blackers, and our special guest, and we'll talk more to him a little bit later on, Andy Mathers, the captain of Coringal, who are absolutely flying in second division at the moment, undefeated on top of the table. Well, gentlemen, we'll start with Tyab. I thought Tyab would go a little bit better than they've been going at the moment, but they notched up their first win of the season. It was an excellent performance. They led all day. Braden Pitcher kicked 5. We'll get to his interview in a second with himself and Aaron Pacey, but
Hulk, you tipped that
yeah,
one,
he did. And by the way, if I could just say, we had to make the opening of the door a lot bigger than usual because the big fella on Saturday night sent me a text and I didn't have his number in my phone, but as soon as he said, I've tipped Seaford, I've tipped Dramana, I've tipped Tyab, I thought, oh, here we Chelsea, here we go, the big fella's on fire.
Oh, yeah. Come on, that wasn't an upset.
No, it was
I reckon Tyab's a good one.
You can only pick what's in front of you. You only pick what's in front of you, mate, and I managed to just reel them off. So it was a good day, but Tyab, that was a great win.
Devon was.
Especially down at Devon.
Yeah, and they'd had a couple of injury concerns, Devon.
Yeah, and you know what it's like to go down to Devon. It's always hard. And round one, you guys, up until half time, they were right in the contest, and when the ground dried up a little bit that day, you guys got on top of them.
Yeah, we struggled there. We actually, we probably deserved to lose that one, but then Holty got us over the line in the end, as you said, when it dried up and he got the glove out after half time. So that was out. So.
Yeah, conditions were tough early, but that was a good win because I thought Tyab had been pretty disappointing in the first 4 or 5 weeks, hadn't they?
It's probably what we expected them to improve a little bit from last year and continue on from where they finished off, Dan. And that's the biggest disappointment from our point of view, that they haven't got a win on the board early.
But they had no element of surprise this year because everyone was all over them. So
yes.
People had been putting a little bit of homework into them and it worked, and it was good to see them notch up the first one for the year.
Well, let's hear from Braden Pitcher and their coach Aaron Pacey after their big win on the weekend. Braden Pitcher, of course, kicked 5.
I'm joined by a happy Tyab coach and a happy best on ground Braden Pitcher, who booted 5 today. We'll start with the coach Aaron. First win for the year, mate. It's against a side that isn't really an easy beat this year.
No, always pretty tough to beat Devon, which is synonymous to the rest of the league. So to come out here and play the way we did, really pleasing. And we've been slowly building. It's been sort of quarter and then a couple of quarters and here and there. So to finally put it together is it's fantastic.
How do you sum up the start of the year? Are you guys frustrated?
Extremely. And we'll probably put a little bit more pressure on ourselves, understanding that with expectations comes frustration, especially when we're not performing, and that's sort of been where we're at. So to finally put it together today again was really pleasing, and hopefully we can take that next step and see how we go next week.
Braden, 5 goals today, mate. You were feeling it?
Yeah, I was feeling good. Yeah, the midfield was unreal, getting it in there. So. Yeah, pretty happy with the team's performance, and thanks to the midfielders like Curtis Murphy and stuff like that. Doyle's getting it in there, so
Good. Did you give any off, mate? Could have you kicked more?
I could have, maybe, but it's all about the team. That's about the team.
Good answer, Braden. And you've earned yourself a best on ground for this week.
There's some guys who just love the limelight, gentlemen. Unlike the four of us on the panel, we're shy and
He had some
retiring
good
types.
moves, Dan, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know about that, Blackers, but I mean, I suppose when you've had a big night at any of the local establishments around the Mornington Peninsula, you dance a bit like that, don't you? I certainly did. I'm all arms and legs and a head full, so I was the worst dancer of all time. There's no doubt about that, being a very ugly man. Now, Tyab's next three are pretty tough. They've got, well, it's going to be, I reckon, the next two in particular, Coringal and also Red Hill. I wouldn't have thought they would get close in those two games, but as long as they're competitive.
They're the two standouts in the comp, so it was good they got their first win before that little run.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter against. No one expects them to win the next two, really.
No?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So the lack of expectation?
Yeah, no, look, they're on hiding to nothing because no one expects them to win, so we'll see how they go.
Does that worry you,
As long as
Andy?
they're the competitive.
Tyab's a tough side away from home. I remember playing him last year, and we were all battered and bruised after that one. Had a fair few injuries. I think that was Grant Goodall's last game as well. Tyab away, so they're going to be tough, and they've picked up a fair few players, so I wouldn't discount them yet.
They find it funny how everyone's really political.
What do you mean by
When they
that?
come on, even though they've got an easy game or a little one, they're always, oh, geez, they're tough. They're tough down there at Abbey Town.
Yeah, but they can't give the opposition too much ammunition,
you
can they?
You can.
No. As long as Tyab are thereabouts and they try really hard, I just don't think that they're going to be up to the level of Red Hill or Coringal.
Now, in the words of Pauline Hanson, Jono Ross, please explain. Jono Ross kicked 6 on Saturday against Rye. He's got a total of 20 for the season, equals second behind Mark Holt in the goal kicking. Holty didn't play in Coringal's win over Lang Warren. Now, what's going on with this hairdo, as you can see on the screen there? He's talking to the coach. I'm more worried about the coach's beard. I haven't seen the great man for a few weeks. I used to share a house with him and say, Coach, you look like an unmade bed. Mine used to say that to me every single day of the week. Have a shave, Coach, and he'd just tell me where to go. But,
Jono,
it's an interesting hairdo, isn't it,
Jono's
Blackers?
got the rat tails, hasn't he, going? He
has.
loves them too.
Now, Red Hill percentage has exploded. Not that, it was a poor percentage, boys, going into this week's game. It was well over 400, or last week's game. They had a 90-point belting of fifth-placed Rye, and they're second on the ladder. I've never seen a percentage like this for a team that's second on the ladder. 449.66. They've kicked 89 goals in the past 4 matches after they were beaten by Coringal in the second game for Coringal for the season, the opening round of the season, of course, for Red Hill. And Andy, I think that just indicates how well your mob's going, that you beat a team like Red Hill, who since then have been unbelievable.
And held them to 8 goals that day too, Andy.
Yeah, might have poked the bear a little bit though. But I don't know. We'll see how they go once they come up against, like your Seafords, Somerville. Who else they got? Lang Warren, teams like that.
Chelsea.
I suppose. So, yeah, Chelsea as well. I really rate Chelsea from the Friday night that we played them on. I reckon they'll do quite well. Had a tough start.
That was a really good game against Chelsea up there under lights, and up until 3/4 time they were just about over the line, weren't they? And then that last quarter of you guys.
Yeah, they're right in it, and they're a really quick side, so I'm not too sure if their ground suits them. It's a really small ground, whereas if they can get that isolation up forward with the Bywater, the other guy's name Francis, they've got a pretty potent forward line, so
Red Hill,
they'll be right up there.
Red Hill, their contested ball this year's been magnificent. Their midfield's gone up a couple of notches on what it was last year. So the opposition aren't even getting the ball down there. So that's why they're not scoring.
You throw in Fletcher on top of what they've already got.
A fit Irving.
Yes.
Well, we had Chris last week. He just feels like there's a new lease of life in the way he's playing, Chris Irving.
Mitchell hasn't even been up and going yet.
Well, the Mole brothers are going well. Now, the coach, he caught up with Jamie Molo, the coach, and Jono Ross, as we just saw a picture there, after the big win by Red Hill over Rye on the weekend.
Jamie, a great win today, but I've got to ask you the question, and whilst I was watching you basically, and all due respect to Rye, you dismantled Rye in pretty much every facet of the game. Whilst I was watching, I thought, I'm going to ask Jamie, does he get much from a win like that? What do you get from a win like that you can say to your boys so that they don't walk onto the field next week and think, we're just going to do it all over again?
No, we're very big on not being complacent, no matter who the opposition is, no matter how big a win it was, or if we had lost the week before. So we take a lot out of structure and process, and we look at that and we make sure that for the large percentage of time we're structuring up really well. And if we were doing that for long periods of time, we win the game of footy anyway. And then we take little wins out of each of the lines, and they connected up really well together, the backs, mids and forwards.
Jono Ross from the Red Hill Football Club was an absolute star today. How much did you get? Was it 5, 6, 7?
6.
6?
Yeah, kicked a few behinds.
Yeah. Overall, Jono, just talking to Jamie, the coach, he's pleased with the way you guys are actually doing what you're told.
Yeah.
You know, you're training a certain way and you're going out and playing that way. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's good having Larry back in the team. He's sort of like the general down in the forward line, so he controls us a bit. But we're all just working well together down there, and our midfield's bloody awesome.
Well, you would think, in regard to their percentage, they'll get more of a booster. Devon, Crib Point and Tyab over the next 3 weeks. Devon have been a bit more competitive. Crib Point, we know it's a bit of a battle. And Tyab, we know, well, they had their first win of the season, but Red Hill are clearly a much better side than those three.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely. But it looks like a bit of a tilted tilted schedule, doesn't it? Because they're playing a lot of those sides, getting a lot of big wins. You guys have had a tough run, haven't you?
Yeah, we've had a tough run, yes. We've done well to be 6-0, and I think Red Hill's second time they played Crib Point in a month or something.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We're sort of looking forward to the next block of games, the next 6 games, to see what we can do.
Yeah.
But those scores that they're putting up are just crazy. So.
Now, you mentioned Chelsea. They had a good win on the weekend against Hastings. They had a slow start, but they're obviously a better side than maybe they looked like they were early in the season. Although, as you said, Blackers are pretty competitive against Kooringal, so they're not far off the mark, are they?
And they've got a game up their sleeve against Pearsdale, which is next week.
Yes.
So then that will climb them up the ladder once they get over the line against Pearsdale.
Is that Goddard playing that one?
Yeah, maybe, but he broke his hand in Tasmania.
Oh, okay.
So it just depends on how.
Jeez, you've got your finger on the pulse.
I've got my finger everywhere, mate.
So how many games is he playing for his old school, Caulfield Grammarians? Not that many.
I'm not too sure about that, but I know that he's booked in to play on that May 18th weekend for Pearsdale, but he broke his hand 4 weeks ago. So,
do you like that, Andy, that these players are playing the occasional match? These former star AFL players, we saw Travis Cloak play 1 game at Tyab. We're seeing Fev play a few games for Hastings. Goddard lining up for Pearsdale.
Yeah, I like it. It's good for the crowds and all that sort of stuff as well, especially the clubs that struggle to make gate. But yeah, it's good to see them out there and see how they go against the local guys who might have thought they were a chance of making it. So it's been good.
And where do you see Hastings, boys? They've sort of dropped off the perch a bit in the last couple of weeks, come up against some good sides and not really been able to maintain it, Blackers, have they?
No, but Dan, in the off-season, they lost Foster and Clifford, Devereaux Gray, and I think there was 1 or 2 others. Andy?
Alanis, yeah.
Alanis,
yeah.
Right? So it's no surprise to me that they're not going to be in that top bracket. And I don't think that, they've recruited Favola and they've recruited Elton, but I don't think that they've got the depth to cover the loss of those 6 blokes.
They're nowhere near that top bracket at the moment. What I saw against Red Hill, they were really, really poor around the contested ball. And I heard a rumour, I don't know if anyone else has, that might lose one of their forwards ongoing through the season.
Hewitt?
No.
Why?
Fev?
Maybe. I don't know. I heard a rumour. Did you hear that rumour, Dan?
I've heard he's not likely to play that much, no.
As in 0?
I've heard he may not play again, correct.
I heard that rumour.
Right.
Yeah. Which
Well,
would be
that would be-
disappointing.
I just think the body is telling him something that maybe he's played all the footy that he was going to play. And I mean, he found it hard to come up after the first game and he's kicking for goal even from close in. I just feel he wants to give more and he just can't. Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out.
I need to ask the legitimate question, Chris. You've got your finger on the pulse, being the coach of the interleague team. Is he gone or isn't he gone? I'm hearing he might be gone. I'm hearing some money might have changed hands from the great man, the breakfast announcer at Fox FM.
Is he unavailable for interleague?
Oh, I would think so. I haven't really asked him, mate.
I'm hearing he may have worn the jumper for the last time.
What I gather is that he might not play for the rest of the year, and he's managed to give back a little bit of that money, and they may use that to get another forward. It might have been put out into the public on a
page?
forum that it might have been.
Yeah, there's a rumour I heard on social media that they're advertising for a new forward.
Yes, correct.
And I thought, gee, there'll be a good side with Fev in it, and then I heard a rumour the next day that maybe Fev won't be there anymore.
Well, they wouldn't be doing that with Favola, Elton, and Hewitt.
No, they wouldn't.
Why would you want another forward when you're getting smashed at the contested ball?
Correct. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll keep a close eye on that. Now, talking of serious questions, another one for you guys, Blackers and Hulks. Who do you bank with, gentlemen?
Oh,
the Bendigo Bank.
Yeah,
Bendigo.
me
Bendigo
too.
Bank.
Me too. Glenn told us to swap. So Glenn's our boss, so we do what Glenn tells us to do. Glenn Carter, that is, our boss here at GameFace.
Fantastic.
Do you know, guys, that Bendigo Bank donate 20% of all profits back to the local community? GameFace just changed all their banking over to Bendigo Bank. So as Simon says, Glenn says, we do what Glenn says. So make sure that you do bank with Bendigo Bank, who do a lot for the local community and particularly football clubs.
Gary Sanford, who's heavily involved with the Bendigo Bank, he's wonderful for local football.
They honestly do pump a lot of money in, don't they?
God,
Everywhere
they do.
you see them,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
They're fantastic.
People with
Absolutely.
lights, clubs with lights and all that sort of stuff, they always help with their loans.
Now, GameFace's match of the day was in front of a big crowd at Coringal on Saturday. A magnificent start by Coringal. They kicked 6-5 to nothing, and that was to the Frankston end of the ground, and you thought this would be one-way traffic. But after that, Langwarren hit back brilliantly, restricting Coringal to just 2 more goals as they kicked 7 themselves. But the poor start, unfortunately for Langwarren, saw them fall short by 11 points. But fortunately for our special guest, the captain of the Coringal Bulls, Andy Mathers, another big win. Andy, it was a great start, and that probably in the end was the big difference.
Yeah, always good to have a win over our rivals, Langy. Massive crowd there. It was great to win in front of them, especially after what happened in the semi-final last year. They really touched us up. Really overran us on that day. But this day we came out of the blocks really, really well. I think every game this year we've had a quarter where we've scored 30 or more, and that sort of set us up for the rest of the game. So they came back, and probably the Coringal of last year would have lost that game, but winning our first 5 games, we've sort of learned how to win. Got through it, and now we're 6 and zip, and we're flying.
So, in regard to that semi-final last year, and I know that's done and dusted, and you can't have it back, was it in your minds a lot that you normally have a very good record against Langwarren, that you really had to turn the tables on them this time after what they did to you last year?
Yeah, well, it was our last game of the year last year, so that's the last one you remember all pre-season and all that sort of thing, especially against our rivals. Finally get the chance to play them in a final, and we dished up a pretty poor performance. They would have been pretty happy with that, and then they probably would have been disappointed with Germana the week after, so they would have been thinking about that. We usually play them round 1, but it was round 6 or something like that this year at home, so yeah, we were really happy with the win on the weekend. I think they had a similar side into what they had that semi-final, and we had a whole bunch of new players.
You had a completely different side. You had blokes that were fit this year. Last year going into finals, you limped into it, and you had blokes carrying injuries. Goodall, it was great to see Goodall and Big Red have a great duel on the weekend, Dan.
I thought Goodall got right on top, Lakers, in the second half. I thought there were a couple of errors that Big Red made that was the inferred pressure that Grant Goodall had placed on him all day.
Especially that last goal that Coringal kicked. Red dropped a mark at
in
centre
the
half
third
forward.
quarter,
Yeah, kicked us, dropped a mark. And there was only 2 goals kicked up to that big pine tree end all day, Dan.
Yeah, it was a tough contest after quarter time. Langy were poor in the first quarter, and your great mate Josh Beard said, "Where's your attitude? Your attitude's not there." In regard to Langwarren, the attitude was certainly there after quarter time. I thought their defence, with a lot of young defenders, held firm after quarter time.
Dan, it was good to see Coringal with some youth, Kellerman in the middle, through the and Lockie Hind off the back flank. I think he gives them leg speed. He uses his pace, and he's got a good leg on him.
Well, Bryce Kellerman's a character. He certainly plays entertaining football. He likes doing an entertaining interview, and he was the star of the show during the game, being best on ground, and certainly after the game. And he was absolutely fantastic. Bryce, congratulations. Must have been delighted with the way you played today.
Yeah, no, it was good. After half time, I was absolutely blowing. So it was good to get the win in the end. I didn't have much in the tank after half time, but we did get over the line, and I did obviously kick a good goal in the third quarter just to put a bit of ice on the game.
I knew you'd say that, doing that in front of a big audience here. It was a great goal. It was an important goal because they were coming, weren't they?
Yeah, no, they were. After half time, after the first quarter, I think we only kicked 2 goals. So they were coming with a wet sail, but it was good. I obviously kicked the goal in the third, and then Battens, the under-19s player, kicked a goal in the last with a few minutes to go, which did put the ice on the game, so it was good. But yeah, it was a good game. We were all blowing in the end. I think we're glad to get the 11-point win and roll into next week tired.
And the live stream was magnificent on the weekend. The commentary was solid, but Red Onion did a great job with our camera work. They were magnificent. And we know that your coach, Andy, having a holiday in Las Vegas. Now, it needs to be mentioned again, and I mentioned it a couple of times on the weekend. People might say, why is the coach having a holiday early in the football season? He had booked this holiday before he took on the job as coach of Coringal for a second time, so that's why he was on the holiday. But we actually were interested during the call as to whether he might have been listening or watching, and he was. He came back to us on the text, and I believe, Andy, rumours are rife that he was trying to issue instructions to Luke Forsyth and the bench via text in the last quarter.
Yeah, he was. I was having a chat with Lukey after the game, and he said that Dunny was pretty hot on the message, letting him know the times, how much longer's left, and where players should move and things like that at three-quarter time. And they just said, just leave it, mate, just relax. We've got it under control. And I think he's been like that all week. And then, Holty went down Thursday night. And,
so what happened with Holt?
Oh, he was leading out of the goal square Thursday night. We're just doing some stoppage stuff and hitting up some forwards. And he was leading out of the goal square and just twanged his calf, and I think he thought this doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And then he was limping off the ground, and pretty much everyone stopped training and just watched him walk off. And he's like, oh no, not for this game, any game but this game. And then the coaches decided not to tell Dunny until 5 minutes before the game because they thought that he might fly home and come play. So there's a big out to miss the Langy game, Holty, but at least we know we've got 5 or 6 goals in the bank on him next time. So.
Well, and especially in the way you used the ball into the forward line in that first quarter, Dan, there was a lot of avenues, wasn't there? And Robinson presented well.
Well, he did.
And I thought deep forward.
I thought there was an issue playing Patterson on Robinson. I know that was obviously Josh's decision to play him on Robinson, but Shane Patterson is more of a playmaker. And when he was one out in the goal square, just didn't suit him. But then, being such the experienced and smart player that Pato is, he was able to bring Robinson up the ground a bit and start playmaking with Tim McGuinness, and that's how Langy got themselves back into the game.
That's right.
It was a magnificent battle, a great one-on-one battle, one of the highlights of the day, I thought.
What sort of a difference has Salty made this year, mate? He's larger than life. I went down there to the Bulls' home ground not long ago, and the crowd was pumping every time we went near the ball. They'd be screaming, he'd be pulling in one-handers. The boys got around him a fair bit.
Yeah, chanting his name and all that sort of stuff as well.
You
guys? Pretty much while we're watching him. Yeah, no, he's been great, and he gets there early at training, and he's always loves to leave as well. Yeah. He helps the twos guys out. Like my brother plays full forward in the twos, and he watches his whole game and tells him what he can do to improve and things like that. He's always there on a Thursday night having a couple of beers with the guys after selection. He's just great for the club.
Because Hulk's last year, Coringal's biggest problem was kicking goals.
Couldn't kick a goal. Your defence was all right, wasn't it?
They had a few, I reckon.
I don't think we wouldn't have had one in the top 10 goal kickers.
No
way. I think Stanley kicked the most.
Yeah, and how far away is Stanley?
He's playing this week.
Is he?
I think he'll
so
come back
through the twos? Yeah.
Played the Chelsea game.
Your contested footy was very good, wasn't it? But you just weren't, when you'd get the ball inside 50, you just weren't able to finish it off.
Just had nothing over that half forward line, in between half forward and full forward, and now you got Holty there. It's at least a 50-50, so most of the time he grabs it, which is nice.
Especially if you can get it in there quickly.
But not only personnel's changed at Coringal, the game plan's changed a fair whack too with Brendan coming in.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, he's so intense, and we pretty much try and model our game on how he plays his game. So, which is just intensity.
Dower.
Yeah, just lock it down. And, lock it down and just win the contest. Back ourselves in to do the hard stuff. So, and then the rest will take care of itself.
Now the club, Andy, raves about you as a skipper, selfless, tough, and committed. Would you describe yourself as that?
Oh, I'd definitely say committed. Yeah, always try and do my best to get my body right and all that sort of stuff during the pre-season, so I can tackle every game during the year. Hopefully that rubs off on some of the guys. I know I got there last year and guys really hadn't really done a proper pre-season before, and I sort of helped them along with that, and guys got fitter. And then this year we rock up to pre-season and everyone's fit and everyone's caught up, and it's like, well, have I been doing enough? So. No, it's been great. It's just a completely different vibe. You bring in those Cranbourne guys as well. They just know how to win.
And some good young kids.
Yeah.
They played in a premiership last year.
Yeah, having the 19s and the 2s win the premiership last year, all those guys want to play senior football. So there's 44 guys vying for a spot in the 22.
When you've set your season up, you're unbeaten on top of the table. You have played one more game, but your next 3 are Tyab, Pearsdale and Crib Point. On form, you win those. You'd be 9-0. Now, a club official has from here... no names, no pack drills, that you will finish top 3. Is that hard to keep the lid on when people around the club are saying that? Does that put pressure on the club, even though you've had this great start, and pressure on the players?
It does, because I know where we were at last year. We were 6-1 last year, and then we lost 8 out of 10 games in the back of the season or something like that. So we've got to play all these teams again, and they're going to want to beat us. Like, I know Chelsea will probably think they can beat us. Red Hill will think they can beat us after those 2 tough games. Probably Lane Warren as well. But yeah,
and
you can only beat who you play, really. So.
And you play Red Hill up at Red Hill, and you play Langy at Langy.
Yeah.
So you've got a couple of big away games on the way home.
Yeah, tough towards the end, and then I think we finished with 2 home games, which is pretty favourable. I think we've got Tybe and Pearcedale at home to finish the season, so hopefully we can finish top 3. But yeah, definitely going for that top spot at the moment while we're there.
They've done everything right so far, Dan.
All you've got to do is win, and they're winning. Now they're on top of the table, 1 game clear at the moment. Red Hill with that unbelievable percentage approaching 500. Can you believe that? We've spoken about that. They're second. Seaford, well, they're just going along quite nicely, aren't they? They're under the radar, and most football teams, Hulks, would love to be under the radar, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they got caught short against Kringle, and they didn't look up to that contest today. They played them guys, so there's still a gap.
The reason why Eddie Fisher wasn't there that day, mate.
Mate, you got your finger on the pulse again, mate. You can't stop him.
Eddie Fisher, the greatest respect to Eddie, I'm sure he's one of the great volunteers. He doesn't play, though, does he?
Well, mate, he's a good player.
Yeah, but not now. Now Somerville, of course, are 4th on the ladder, and they're another team that have slipped under the radar a bit. And then Rye, top 5. Still not sure about Rye. They're a bit inconsistent, aren't they?
I think that will all change.
It will, yeah.
Chelsea in 7th, I think, look like they might come in. I expect Langy to be better, and they were better after quarter time, and they just haven't quite fired yet.
The only thing
you haven't hit me up on that yet, Hulks.
What do you mean?
Oh, God.
Why aren't they going well, Blackers? Is it the Tuesday night training session
that's what
that you're heavily involved in?
I'm surprised that you didn't mention that, Hulks. But look, on the weekend, I thought, Dan, you watched the game as well. I thought Lang Warren went wide all the time.
They
kept on using the boundary line. I reckon they've got to take a little bit more risk and go through the corridor and get that ball down to centre half forward where they.
I thought Jesse Murphy, he did what he had to do. He kicked 4 goals, and I know that Gregson Andy has become an outstanding player for your team. That was another great individual battle, I thought.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's played on all the big full forwards at the moment. I think he played on that Larwell, played on Jesse Murphy.
He's good.
He's just a massive unit. He's put on probably 10 kilos over the pre-season, and he can move too. So he's really bolstered up because he knows he's the fullback, and he's looking to be the fullback of the comp at the minute, I reckon.
Now, Holty still leads the goal kicking. Mark Holt, despite not playing, on 29. Walton has got 20 from Seaford. Then Jono Ross is on 20 after he's 6 on the weekend. Larwell's on 20 as well. And he's having a good year for Red Hill. So the 2 forwards, Ross and Larwell, doing well. And Theo Doriadis, 2 goals last week from Devon Meadows, and he's on 17. So looking at next week's games, boys, Tyab and Kringle. Even though it's at Tyab, you think Kringle, knowing how to win at the moment, will be too strong.
Yeah, I do. I think Kringle for me.
Yeah, Tyab had their win last week, which was fantastic, and they'll come up short the next couple of weeks, starting this week.
Chelsea at home to Rye.
Chelsea,
although I spoke to Jamie Mollo, and he said Rye were very, very physical and very, very competitive up to about half-time in that game against Red Hills. So Rye on the right track. Wouldn't be surprised if they're upset.
Well, Chelsea and the Rye ground are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah. That surface up at Chelsea's a bit rough. I like that Rye, especially after Rye gift.
Rye's a great ground. What do you think, Andy? Chelsea?
I reckon Chelsea would be
they're going well. Yeah. Lang Warren and Pearcedale, it's the Bushman's Cup. Langy need to win.
I think it's 125 years, Dan.
Is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Are you getting down there this week?
I've got something else on this week.
I'll take Langy.
Have you been to a game yet? As an assistant coach, have you been to a game?
It's there Saturday.
I've been there every week.
I didn't see you. So why didn't you come and say good day to us?
Oh, Dan, I can't be everywhere.
Well, you didn't have far to go, mate. Gee, fair dinkum. Disappointed with that. Now, Seaford have got a big game too on the weekend as well. They're obviously looking to try and keep winning. Can they win?
No, Seaford.
Seaford for me.
Walton will kick another 5.
They're in good form at the moment. Red Hill against Devon Meadows. Comfortable win for Red Hill.
Red Hill, yeah.
Big percentage booster, not that they need it.
It'll be 80 plus points again.
Yep.
And Somerville should make it 4 from 6 when they take on Crib Point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Summy
again.
So that's it. Thank you, gentlemen. Andy, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the great start to the season. Good luck for the rest of the year, and hopefully we catch up again soon as we get a bit closer to the finals.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great to have Andy Mathers, the captain of the Kringle Football Club, with us. This has been the second division MPNFL Footy Show. We thank our great friends from Svitslocker for our wonderful jumpers. And if your club is interested in a jumper, you can come and get in touch with GameFace. Thanks, Hulks. Thanks, Blackers. We'll chat again next week for the MPNFL Division 2 Footy Show on GameFace.